Thanks, Brandon. It's great to come downtown. I work in St. Albert. It's a dusty wood shop, and it's great to come down to where the action's happening. And it's great to see what's happening. It's the first time up here. It's huge up here. It's exciting and great to see people collaborate and work together and work on new ideas. I'm going to start with this. It probably shows you why I don't do the tweeting for On Our Table. Just give a little read here. I tweeted Katie Lang. She apparently had bought some of our boards. I forgot that she's a militant vegetarian. And luckily, she was okay with that. And but I mean, we're just getting into social media in terms of marketing our product, and obviously it's a great thing. But we've really just scratched the surface on how we can use social media and Pinterest and Facebook and all those things to market our products. But it's anyways, it's a learning curve. So I'll sort of step back from tweeting after this debacle. How did this all start? I mean, I've been making products for a long time, but I took a break. I mean, I was teaching and doing restaurant design. My wife opened a restaurant, Kalina Highlands, which we turned into Highlands Kitchen, and we did that for about 5 years. So I was involved in that a lot, and design and marketing and that sort of thing, just operating a restaurant. But I wanted to get back to making things again. I mean, I made furniture for 10 years and collaborated with a lot of designers, and just we sold our products all over the place. It was just a great experience. I wanted to get back into making products again, and I wanted to do it differently this time. I wanted to make products that I was really proud to produce. High quality, products that aspired to be heirloom objects. And so I really strategically thought, how can I develop a collection that I can produce locally, a collection that I truly can really sink my teeth into. And so with the restaurant, my wife did a lot of catering, still does, but she needed boards to show the work, to show her food on, to serve food in the restaurant. And so cutting boards and charcuterie boards was sort of a natural product category. We couldn't find products or charcuterie boards for the restaurant that really worked for what we wanted to do. And the IKEA boards, they just wouldn't fly in what we wanted to do at the restaurant. So I created a collection, started working with forms. I'm a designer. I want to do my shapes. I didn't want to go that vintage route and catch that bandwagon. So it took a long time. It took about a year to sort out a collection of shapes and forms and finishes, materials, and all of that. So I really sunk my teeth into it and did a very cohesive product development cycle of developing this collection of boards. So it ended up being, this is the first 3 boards. Solid walnut, very smooth finish, very, almost like a craft level of finish, which something I always admired from a designer standpoint is products that have a very high level of finish and very tactile and smooth, and a material that you could, that would age gracefully and that sort of thing. So it was a very considered decision to come up with this collection, and part of it was I wanted to be in full control of manufacturing, of distribution, all of that. I mean, that sort of makes me a bit unique as a designer. Is I like to sell my products. I like to make them and sell them and market them. It's all part of the whole experience for me. I really enjoy that, and more designers are doing that now, just out of necessity, but also just it's easier now. You can promote your products, you can sell them online, you can do all sorts of things to produce and sell your work. So, but I've done that for quite a while, and I wanted to really do it sort of in a in a way that I could really control quality and distribution and all of that. So I had an old colleague who I'd done some projects with, Chris Brandt at Woodcraft Design, and he has a great wood shop. And we started working together and producing prototypes and developing the collection and finding ways to make it an easy collection to produce and that sort of thing. So, excuse me, he's out in St. Albert. And so for the first year, I've been doing boards for about 3 years now. First year, he made the boards in his shop, and I would take them to my house in Edmonton and distribute them from there. So after about a year, it just got to the point where it's time to partner up on a more serious basis in terms of production. So I moved my shipping end of things to his shop and sort of took it from there and took things to the next level. So how do you sell a piece of, basically a slab of wood? How do you get that out there? What makes our cutting boards unique and special? And how do you sell a piece of wood? It's really difficult. How do you compete? So one thing that I put together is an honest story of how this collection came to be, and I think it translates to consumers, and because it's an honest story, it works. It's really how these boards came to be, and so it's a story that we use in our marketing. This is a hang tag. It lets us connect to the audience. Even the consumers want to connect to the product. They want to connect to the designer, and I've always believed that. That's why I used to collaborate with a lot of different designers. I was interested in design. I'm interested in the designers and their styles and that sort of thing. So I've always believed that people want to connect with the product and who designed it and who made it and the whole story behind that. So with this collection, it was an opportunity to really use that and to let it be part of our whole marketing package. So our website has been a real experimental work in progress for 2 years now. Initially, I sold the boards as Geoffrey Lilge Design. After a year, I wanted to expand the collection and work with other designers, so we came up with a brand. And it's a brand that could work with what we're trying to do is intersect the worlds of food and design and craft and what we are passionate about, and how can we do that in a brand and sell cutting boards and create a feel for the brand. So what I wanted to do was talk about food, and my wife's a chef and she dabbling in food writing a little bit, and we know food writers and we know chefs and we know people in the food industry just through the restaurant and other connections. So we really wanted to collaborate with the people who are in our lives, our friends and people who are into food. And so what we did is, I thought it was important to really incorporate that into our brand and our homepage. And so instead of having a little link to the blog, I really wanted to have the blog or the journal front and center alongside the products. And so the split screen with the journal on one side, the shop on the other, it kept both things in sort of equal focus. And I thought it's important to do that. I think it's a unique site in that sense, that it's both subjects are right there, and you always have the product on the page. It's a key thing. It's a store. I mean, we want to sell boards. We also want to communicate what we're doing. So it's to have the journal there. The journal items are on the bottom row. This is a site that we're working on, a redesign. So just bringing the whole concept further. It's about selling products, but it's also about educating and learning and just having fun with, food stories and recipes and travels and all that sort of thing. But it's a lot of work. So we're just sort of scratching the surface on how we can really explore this on our table brand as a total food design craft type company. So it's been interesting to develop this, and I think we're heading in the right direction. So, but we're finding a lot of things about online retail. It's really about familiarity in terms of, you want your site and platform to have a real familiar feel to it, so that people are really comfortable using it. I think it's important to connect with people in a real familiar way to give them a sense of security and that sort of thing. So if you click on a journal item, you'll get the story, the recipe. Excuse me. Actually, we get a lot of Google hits. People, if we do like an odd type recipe, like a prune cake or Saskatoon pie, we'll get actually a lot of, relatively a lot amount of Google traffic. People searching for Saskatoon pie will end up on our site, and you never know, they might be interested in the product as well. So the product's always there, and it's always a presence on the site. So that's a key part of, I think, having an online retail store. So when I first started, I had some media contacts from previous projects, and I just put it out there, and I put out a lot of press releases, just electronic. And I didn't expect some of these, just the blogs. I didn't really realize how powerful blogs are these days in terms of connecting to customers. But this site, Design Sponge, this happened 2 years ago, I think, but it still is probably our most productive piece of blog coverage that we had. It was, I think we had 10,000 hits first couple days. It happened to go on a Friday night, so it was sat on the site for the whole weekend, and it was a really good timing in terms of, we had just basically launched our online site, and but it sort of really surprised me in terms of, my history was going after print magazines, print media, that sort of thing. But all media is good, but this was amazing to get this type of exposure. And it's just simply sending out a really nice, simple press release with really good images and a personal note, customizing your photos to the size that the blog wants. Basic tips like that help make it easier for the blog to put your products on their site. Make it easy for them, make it, great images, all that stuff. We did a series of printed press releases, just a small run. I think there was 25 sort of big print packages of press releases. So sort of the old school way that I used to do things. A folder with a CD, a DVD, ROM with images, press release, that sort of thing. And that was productive. It's hard to say how productive it was, because the print projects come out months after. But I think we did pretty well. We did a few newspapers, Canadian House at Home. Again, it's hard to really measure the impact of this type of press, but it's all good, I'm sure. Some of them, say wallpaper, we've never really gotten any emails from Europe or that sort of thing. So I think that that wasn't quite as impactful as I would have imagined from my past experience. It used to be a really big thing. Now I think it's just part of the whole huge mass of media that's out there. So I think it's, it's good for your ego, but how much does it translate into sales is really hard to tell. With a blog, you can tell because it links directly to your site, and you get all those analytics and all that. So I was able to use some of my really old connections, and I just basically put our stuff out there, and it happened quite fast, but Yeah, just don't be afraid to ask for exposure, and if you're promoting something, ask your old contacts and fill them in with what you're doing, and you never know what could happen. So this um, happened last year. The food and wine was this year, but there's an old contact at the New York Times, and she actually called me, and she had my cell number, and she put my cell number in the New York Times, which is great. So with our collection, we really have a niche. We have basically the most expensive boards at Williams-Sonoma. It's a niche I'm comfortable with because it's even being the most expensive boards, you give a big mass merchant like that a discount. You're selling to them at wholesale. So you're selling to them wholesale minus X amount. And you really need to be doing some big volume to really make it a great thing. It is a great thing. We get great exposure. We started with 2 products. Now we're up to 6 products with Williams-Sonoma. A couple last week that they've added that are great margin products. You really got to know your margins when you're dealing with these big guys, because it could kill you if you're not. This product is okay. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of wood. So it's heavy. It takes like 2 people to lift it sometimes. But it's a niche, and it's good to have a niche. I think that we've found our niche, and so we're just going to sit there and try to expand slowly into different product categories, into different price points. But I think it's a niche is a really good thing when you're independent, small manufacturer, local manufacturer. You really need to have your ducks in a row in terms of who your market is, what you're making, what your price points are. So it's been a learning experience. I mean, I've been doing manufacturing for almost 20 years, and you learn something still every project you do. So we ended up doing 1 trade show after we launched the company, and then we got a bunch of media exposure, and that drove a lot of sales. We found a lot of retailers that way. They would just contact us from seeing us on a blog or magazine. Came to a point where there's waves of media exposure that drive your business, but we decided to go to a big design houseware show in New York last year. We just got a little 10 by 10 booth. It's a simple, small little display of our products in a really great trade show. We were right across from the aisle from Itala, which is one of my favorite design companies. They do glassware from Finland. So we were in good company. It was really good. It's a show I used to do previously, but it was just good to meet people again and see the same people and connect with retailers and media and that sort of thing. So I don't see enough designer, maker, craft people in Canada go to these big shows in the States, and I think it's really important to do them once in a while, as much as possible. I mean, they're really expensive, so we haven't done this one this year, but because we've got these great connections that we've made. But if you want to make these connections, you really have to get out there and show your work, and show your work in places that are centers of commerce. So New York is, for us, it's the biggest place to show our work. So we'll go there again soon. Who knows? But it's you're putting yourself out there. You're showing your work, and it's stressful, but it's so beneficial, and it's something that it's frustrating to not see designers do that. I think it's really important. So I've told dozens of designers to just go abroad and show your work, but I want to see more of that happening. So we've connected well with the food industry. For us, these are all sort of user generated visual content that we just get sent to us. People using our products or custom products that we've done for people. And you get these great images of our product in use. So it's a great way to, and we foster that. I mean, I give Daniel boards to use, and he's always shooting his work and blogging about his cooking. And if our cutting board's in the background, it's a great thing for both of us. So we hooked up with Food 52. It's a huge foodie blog. New York Times editor started it. But so sites that have like millions and millions of viewers, it's just great to be a part of if you can connect with them somehow. Actually, I forgot to say with Williams-Sonoma, I connected with them. I went to LinkedIn, found a Williams-Sonoma buyer. I sort of broke the code of the email code, so it's their first initial dot last name or whatever. I knew I had a couple of Williams-Sonoma addresses in my contacts, but they were long gone, so I just cracked that code and sent a really nice email with really great images, and it was a lot cheaper than going to a trade show. I got to Williams-Sonoma before we did the trade show, but it was, yeah, you just have to be aggressive and show your work to, like, target who you're going to show your work to. It's just not just anybody. You have to be strategic about it. So, kitchen accessories, we're also going to be, I mean, we have a long-term project to expand into, this is a kitchen island, so it's a system. It's almost like a kitchen, well, it's a furniture product. So it's a modular, customizable kitchen island that would be solid walnut with different accessories that slot into it. So this is a really, pie in the sky project that we're working on that could take a year to develop. But I really see this as almost an ideal sort of web app scenario where you could customize your own kitchen island online and develop exactly what you need, what accessories you need, be it a cutting board or a butcher board or a tray or a wine tray or a knife tray or spice tray or charcuterie board. They all slot into spaces in the middle. So this is a long-term project, but one that we're excited about in terms of just expanding what we can do and still keeping our niche of high quality and solid wood and food and design and all that stuff. One thing we're going to do next year as well is a cookbook. So something we've been thinking about for a long, long time, just on a personal level, but now with On Our Table, it fits in quite nicely. But we just finally met the perfect food photographer, Heather Muse. She's a local food photographer. She's amazing. And then a local graphic designer, illustrator, Vicky Rachinski. Vicky, you might see her at the market. But people who really sort of speak our language. And so we're going to work on finding a publisher for this book that doesn't exist yet, but it's another long-term project, but it all ties into the brand and ties into sort of a lifestyle that we want to create with the brand. Another thing we're just dabbling in a little bit because it's just harder and harder these days, but is collaboration with other designers. I used to do that quite a lot with my previous company, but I really enjoy it. It's just an interesting way to do business, is collaborating with designers, and you have this great shop or it's great distribution channel, and you want to share it. You want to just collaborate, and collaboration is fun, and it's something I really want to do a lot more with designers. It's a little different with this brand per se. It's a more specific line of products. It's a little more can't be quite so diverse as my previous projects. So this is a bowl we're doing with Loyal Loot. They've done their log bowls for 10 years. So they're beautiful bowls with colored bowls and with the log on the side. You've all seen them around. They've gone all over the world with those. So I wanted to do something in walnut with that, and this is sort of the end product. And so with their sort of notoriety, a designer can bring you some new connections as well. So Design Within Reach is a huge furniture retailer, online retailer, showrooms, 60 showrooms across the States. So they're the biggest sort of contemporary design retailer in the US. And for us, the way we connected with them was through working with designers. So it was the buyer at Design Within Reach recognized Loyal Loot and wanted to develop a custom product. It didn't quite pass through their multi-stage buying process, but certainly opened the door for future product development with them. They have a tough time selling kitchen type accessories, so it's a bit of a stretch for Design Within Reach, but ironically, the buyer for Design Within Reach, he moved on to what's happening with Dwell magazine as they're opening a big online store division. They've another designer that I worked with 12 years ago, his wife, we were sitting around and she pulled out this little flyer. This is her startup story. She was launching this little magazine. And so I kept this, but it's really tiny. It's little, like a 4-page folder of it's like a mock-up of this magazine she's going to launch. So it turned out, obviously, it's Dwell magazine. And so I've stayed in contact with her just over the years, and the buyer from Design Within Reach was headhunted by the new Dwell online component, and he didn't forget about On Our Table, and now they're going to buy about 6 products for the new Dwell online store. So that should be a pretty major retail outlet for us. So your connections, I mean, that was 12 years ago, and she never forgot about us. So Chris, my partner, he also does site furnishings. You've seen the Heritage Bench. They're all over 104th. They're all over the city. He's got his company, Woodcraft Design. And so a year ago, I moved my shipping of the boards into his shop, and just being around these benches and being around the production of that sort of as a designer got my gears turning. And I still love to design furniture. And how can I make something out of this situation? So he's got this, pretty traditional collection of products. How can we work together? We're making a lot of boards. And so I proposed to him that we start a new company, and a new company that would make new site furnishings and continue on with the boards, continue on with the kitchen islands. So we're partnering up in a serious way to create another new brand. So we're rebranding Woodcraft into Area Works. So we've come up with 4 or 5 new designs in addition to his traditional designs. So we have a really well-rounded collection of site furnishings. He's typically sold regionally. His biggest customer is the city of Edmonton. But it's, times are changing, and contemporary design is a growing concern, and there is a market need for contemporary design benches in Western Canada for sure. So we see it as an opportunity to expand current sales from just beyond Edmonton to Calgary and Vancouver and all of Western Canada and then Eastern Canada. So we came up with the idea in January, and we recently just launched sort of a soft launch of this new company. So we've got, obviously it's a more traditional type of marketing and distribution type of company. So there's a lot of printed materials, trade shows next year we'll be doing as well, and really connecting with the buyers and developers and architects and landscape architects and that sort of thing. So it's great to be doing contemporary furniture again, but it's also great to be working locally in a way that we can really connect with our city and our surroundings. I'm excited about that. I mean, we sell cutting boards, but this is a whole different animal in terms of helping build a city. So started getting a little bit of press out there for these, and that helps. So we've been getting some interest from the Midwest, California, Seattle, Vancouver. Yeah. So connect locally. MAID is doing the Makescape 2 at the Designing Downtown on October 5th. Pekka Kucha Nights downtown at the Winston Churchill Square. So we'll be part of the Makescape, and we'll bring our benches, and we want to try to come up with a concept where we can, I don't know, we're still sort of working on this, but maybe inviting council candidates to sit on a bench and you can come and talk to them or something. I don't know. We need to come up with something where you can connect with someone on a park bench. How does a park bench help a city? I mean, it's proven the more benches you have, the more people sit down, and enjoy the space. It's just a fact. So how can we play on that and do something fun at this Makescape event? But it should be a fun day in Winston Churchill Square. And if you can't get tickets to PKN 17, they'll be live streaming it. And it'll just be a good day to hang out downtown. So I'll just end up with one thing that we moved to Highlands when the restaurant opened, and we've really enjoyed meeting our neighbors, and it's a great neighborhood that's really connected. And I just came up with this logo just actually for no real reason other than to do an exercise in hipster branding, like right out of the hipster branding handbook. And I think it was just to do a t-shirt or something. And it turned into something really interesting, I think. Sort of various people in the community really caught on to it and sort of took it seriously as a group of people who wanted to hang out and do events together and make the community a fun place to be, a little different than the traditional community league, pancake breakfast, that sort of thing. So a few of us got together and we set up a summer concert on Ada Boulevard in June. And it's great. We got 300 people out. We got a grant from Northlands to pay for some really cool bands. Big sound system. It was a beautiful day, and we just created a really great event that we can hopefully do every summer and just bring something different to our community. And then I created just a simple, it took 5 minutes, a little Facebook group page, and what this really has turned out to is it's a tool for the community to connect to each other. And anyone from the community can set up a little event on this page, and say if you want to do a mountain bike ride for Tuesday, you set it up and everyone in the group hears about it, and 5 people go mountain biking. Or pub night, or running night, or running club, or whatever. It's just a fun, easy way. Like, it's such an easy way for the community to connect. And I mean, I see this as sort of an open source tool that maybe other neighborhoods could do if they wanted to set up a way to connect events and set up events and program whatever. I mean, if you want to have a garage sale day in your neighborhood or whatever, but the old way of connecting in a neighborhood was, the community league newsletter or what have you. But it's such an easy, fast way to just, it takes 5 minutes, and any neighborhood could really do it. So that was sort of an exercise in branding, I guess, but it's turned out quite well. All right, that's all I got for that. Got way too many Twitter handles to take care of, but I would, if you're a food person, I'd go to at on our table, and if you're into benches, go to Area Works. And if you're into one tweet every 3 months, you go to my Twitter handle. And if you live in Highlands or want to hang out in Highlands or move to Highlands, it's a great neighborhood. There's that one.